Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me already, my name is Jen. Last video was more of a serious type of style. I mean, it wasn't super serious, but it had a more serious topic. But today I was going through my books and I was looking at them, and I read a lot actually, so I like to explore different types of books. And I was looking through my books and I thought, I kind of want to share some books that I feel like other people should read. So today I'm going to share with you 5 different books that I think every Christian should read. And honestly, it doesn't just have to be Christians. I think everybody should read these books because they're super beneficial in all the aspects of your life. So I'm just going to kind of go through each one and explain what I liked about it, what I learned from it, and how I think like it could benefit you maybe. So I'm not going to start in any particular order, like I just kind of stack them, and so I'm just going to go for whatever's on top. So the first book is Relationship Goals by Michael Todd. If you don't know who Michael Todd is, he is the lead pastor of Transformation Church, and I love his sermons so much, so I had to pick up the book because he made a series on YouTube actually. It's called Relationship Goals and then Relationship Goals Reloaded. So it's 2 different series, but they kind of like play off into each other, if that makes sense. So first it was Relationship Goals, and then he did kind of like a spin-off series, if you could say, and that one is called Relationship Goals Reloaded. So it's just like a continuation of that kind of. And I really liked this book because a lot of aspects of my life in different parts of relationships, they weren't damaged, but they could have been a lot better. And as a Christian, like, you don't really know how to navigate those relationships afterward, because you go from being in the world and navigating them the way that the world would, and then now you're navigating them in God's perspective, or how you think that God would be pleased doing so. And with this one, the book is mainly about like dating relationships, marriage, like that kind of a thing. But anybody could read this because it doesn't just talk about that. It also touches on friendships, relationships with family members, coworkers, business partners, like all types of relationships. So I do really recommend it because this has really opened my eyes on how I see other people, how to communicate with other people. And overall, it's just like a really important book to read if you want to get if you want to get better at all your relationships. I get kind of tongue-tied sometimes. I don't know why. I just do. So yeah, this is the first book. And then the second book is called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. If you're unfamiliar with C.S. Lewis, he wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, aka like Narnia. And just acknowledge how pretty this book is for a minute. Like, look at the detailing on the side of the pages. I don't know if you can see that, but I like how it's not just like even, like there's some sort of like uneven ridges on the pages. So that was one thing that really brought me to this book, the aesthetic of it, if you will. But then once I like looked at the title and realized, oh, this talks about that. And at first I kind of thought it was going to be like a diss towards Christians, if you will, or like I thought it would be some sort of argument like against God or against Christians or something like that. And in a way it kind of is, but not really, because what C.S. Lewis does here is that he takes a lot of perspectives from unbelievers or atheists or all that kind of stuff, and he talks about like their arguments or why they go against Christianity or why they don't believe in it and that kind of a thing, or like against God, because I mean at the end of the day, like, people don't really think about God, more so the religion. And he talks about their different perspectives and kind of how to answer. Like, he's not teaching you how to debate people, but he kind of shows you like the different perspectives of like why it is that we believe, like why is it that we believe what we believe, why do we believe in God. And it was just really interesting and eye-opening, because I was kind of aware of like some of the doubts or skepticism within that, because I used to kind of doubt, like I always believed in God, but there were parts of me at some points in my life where I was kind of like, could it be? Like, is he real? Is it not? Like, am I just believing something blindly? So it wasn't until I developed my own personal relationship with God that I really understood. And this is why I believe that I believe. So I feel like if you're one of those Christians that are kind of skeptical, or if you've seen a lot of arguments against God and that kind of thing, and you're genuinely curious of why you believe what you believe, I would definitely pick this up, because it really opened my eyes to like a lot of different perspectives. But yeah, and it's just a really good book, honestly. So the next one is going to be How to Forgive, or no, I'm sorry, Do Yourself a Favor, Forgive by Joyce Meyer. And Joyce Meyer, she is also in ministry. Personally, I don't really know if she has her own church. Like, I've seen her preach in some videos, but I haven't paid much attention to her sermons, if I'm being honest. I've only really read this book, and I'm in the process of reading another book by her called Power Thoughts. So this one helped me so much in so many aspects, because as Christians, you hear like, forgive one another like God forgives you. And it's hard because we think, okay, well, I'm not Jesus, so... And you kind of keep this like resentment and bitterness in you towards other people. And it's sad because like, you know that you're trying to forgive that person, or you may not even have in mind that you haven't forgiven them. Like, you probably forgot about it, but once in a while, the memory of that person ticks in, and then you're automatically triggered, and then you forget about it again, everything's fine. Or you say, no, it's okay, like, it's all good. And you say that just because you forgot about it. But in reality, sometimes we harbor a lot of feelings of hurt and anger towards people that we don't even realize. And this book made me really realize that. And I just started like, I think at some parts of this book, I was just sobbing, just remembering like people in my past, remembering like situations where I just still harbored some like anger and some bitterness. So this really helped to open my eyes and help to like let some of that go. It's still a process, like I'm still working on it. And one of the things that has helped me is I've just been praying to God like every day and every night, like, please forgive me for my sins. And in that same way that you forgive me, and that same way that you give me grace and mercy, help me to give it to other people. Like, teach me to forgive others the way that you forgive me. And that has been such a key and eye-opener, because at the end of the day, we have to remember, like, we're not human. We are human. We're not God. So we're always going to make mistakes. We're always going to do things that are going to hurt people. And this is just one of the things that really helps you put that into perspective and realize that some of the things, you just have to let it go. So this is something I definitely recommend, not just Christians read, but everybody read. Because you'd be surprised how much like unforgiveness is hurting people. And people don't even realize it because they think it's okay to be petty and angry forever. And it's not. So the next book is called Undaunted by Christine Caine. She also has a ministry, and honestly, I'm not totally sure like if she has a specific church. I do know that she does sometimes preach in Hillsong, so I don't know if that's like her home church. But I read this book a couple years ago, and I'm still really obsessed with it. If you're unfamiliar with Christine Caine, she's Australian, and she basically has her whole testimony on this book. And in some YouTube videos, if you look her up, like, she talks about kind of like what happened to her, how she came to God, like that kind of a thing. And her story is super inspiring and so heartbreaking at the same time. But I'm glad that at the end of the day, she was able to find Christ and have a relationship with him, because otherwise, like, I would just feel so hurt. And she also has this amazing organization called A21, and it's basically an organization that helps free children, or basically free sex slaves, like people that are stuck in sex trafficking, or people that are being prostituted, like all that kind of stuff. Like, she goes around the world and she has like people to try and help and rescue those people so they don't have to stay stuck in that, because like sex trafficking is just such a disgusting industry. And like the fact that people actually do that, the fact that people actually put human beings as slaves like that, and for that specific purpose, is just, it's unspeakable. Like, it's so disgusting to me, and I'm just glad that we have people like her actually making a difference and actually saving lives. So anyway, from this book, I was going through some really rough stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I was reading this book like just as I was starting to learn more about God and building my relationship with him. And a lot of the things that she was saying on here, like some of the experiences that she went through, were definitely some of the things that I have gone through. So it really helped me, like, okay, if this person can make it out, then so can I. So, for example, in some of the chapters, I mean, I can't really find a specific chapter right now, but some of them were how she was, like, when she got bullied, or whenever she was just experiencing, like, rejection and all that kind of stuff. Like, I really felt that. So, to me, this was something that I could relate to, something that could kind of help me and think, like, okay, even though there's people that may be rejecting me, God's not rejecting me. And to me, that's way more important, because people are temporary, but God's going to be there forever. So if you're, like, experiencing any of this stuff, or if, like, if you're just curious about her story, like, this is one of my favorite books ever. I really recommend this. I actually let my dad borrow this one time, and I'm very big into, like, not underlining or highlighting or anything, like, any books, except for my Bible. That is the one thing I will underline and highlight and make notes of. And I let my dad borrow this book once, and he literally, like, underlined some of the words, and I remember being so triggered about it. I was like, you didn't. And he was just like, sorry, I forgot it wasn't my book. And this literally happened in so many pages, and I just had to let it go. I was like, you know what, it's fine, it's fine. No, I'm kidding, but no, seriously. But yeah, that's book number 4. And then the 5th and final book is called Not a Fan by Kyle Idleman, or Idleman, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And I'm actually currently in the middle of reading this book. And it's called Not a Fan because it talks about the difference between being a follower of Christ or being a fan of Christ. And it really makes you analyze, what kind of relationship do you have with God? Like, are you actually a follower, or are you just a fan? Because there are some people that think that they're followers of Christ just because they go to church every Sunday, or just because they pray before they eat. And yes, that is something that Christians and believers do, but it doesn't necessarily make you a follower of Christ. And I think a lot of that plays into this religiousness, because a lot of people love being religious. A lot of people love showing off. Oh, look at me, I'm so perfect because I do this and this and that. And you're a sinner because you do this, because you wear jeans, because you, like, they just point out the dumbest things in other people just to try to elevate themselves. So that's one thing, that's like how you can kind of spot a fan. Or people that, you know, say, yeah, no, I love God, I love God. And I've seen people, like, put Bible verses in their bio, and then their posts are full of explicit content. We're just gonna leave it at that, explicit content. And I'm sitting there like, but what? Like, they put things like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and then they put themselves, like, smoking a blunt. So I'm like, what? I mean, like, that's how you can really spot, like, and it just, like I said, it makes you analyze, okay, what kind of relationship do I have with God? Like, am I a fan? Am I a follower? And it makes you really think. And some of these things actually convicted me, because there were some things that I was doing, and it just made me realize, like, whoa, that was fan behavior, Jen. And it's made me, like, pray more about it and realize, like, okay, this is what I need to change to better my relationship with God. And it's something that we need to keep in mind. Like, we can't be religious, because if God wanted us to be religious, we could have chosen, like, anything else. But the thing is, he doesn't want a religion out of us. He wants a relationship. And that's something that I've had to learn the hard way. And I think that's something that people still struggle with. So if you really want to, like, get out of that, like, break from that, I definitely recommend Not a Fan. So yeah, those are my 5 books that I believe every Christian should read. So if you want more content like this, or if there's any like video type ideas that you guys suggest or recommend or want to hear about, let me know. Please like, share with friends, subscribe. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. I'll be praying for y'all, and I bless all of you in Jesus' name. Have a blessed rest of your week.